Wait, he's in the RV with her?
Yes.
Okay. I thought she was just playing with fire again.
Yeah. Well, she might have been. Police...
And hoping that he would be...
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess when he dies, or they get a report of him dying, the police go to the RV and they find prescription pills and a piece of hose long enough to reach from the stove to Wally's bed.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a double suicide note stating that Marjorie and Wally wanted to be buried together with their dog, who I'm assuming is still alive, so don't even get me started on that. You don't kill your dog.
They want to be buried with the dog, so dog's already dead and they want to be buried next to him.
I hope.
I don't know.
Or with his ashes?
I don't know.
So Marjorie was arrested for murder, but the prosecutors felt like their evidence wouldn't hold up. Because...
How would it not?
If it had been a double suicide and Wally went first...
Yeah.
Then that meant that Marjorie had chickened out. Like, you don't get a get out of jail free card because you chickened out of committing suicide.
That's still murder. Oh,
right.
But if it was intended to not be murder.
Right.
And she just decided, I don't want to do this. I want to live.
Right.
Then it's not murder?
Yeah, but I mean, that's a really thin line.
Like I say, I'm sticking with architecture. I don't really...
We're not going to law school anytime soon.
No.
So, the prosecutors dropped the charges.
Really?
Yep. But she still headed to prison because she, was convicted for arson.
Oh, okay.
So I guess they figured, she's going to jail anyway. Mm-hmm. So even from prison, she was causing trouble. Wally's children came to get his body so it could be buried with his former wife's body in Minnesota, but Marjorie refused to release it.
Ew.
So they all end up in a court case over a dead body.
Ew.
The court eventually rules that the body can be cremated and half the ashes given to the children and half the ashes given to Marjorie.
Oh my God.
Because this is the Book of Solomon.
So she gets half of Walter.
Right. So then she tries to make early parole in 2001, but was denied after Wally's children and even...
2001?
Yeah.
Wait, I thought this trial was in like the 90s, like the early 90s.
Right. So, I mean, she's got a 15-year sentence.
Oh, wait. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the parole was denied after Wally's children and even her own sister Jennifer spoke against her.
Oh my goodness.
They're like, keep her in jail.
I was wondering where the sister was in all this.
Right.
That was rude.
Mona is now knocking things off the table. Pay attention to me.
I'm not sure that was intentional. Well, it was intentional.
It was intentional. She's a cat. Come on now.
Oh, no.
And we can say that because we're seasoned cat owners, but we love them anyway. So, Marjorie was finally released in 2004. And she moved to Tucson where she got involved in more misadventures. From what I've read... She now, because she's still alive.
She's just old.
Yes.
I just can't believe this is 2001.
Right. She receives $4,800 a month from the Congdon estate.
Why is she getting any money?
This is apparently as a result of a civil suit that 5 of her 7 children brought against her.
Oh, I forgot about all the kids.
Claiming that state law prohibits the distribution of an inheritance if that person is suspected of killing for it.
This is why the first time I went to Glensheen, and they don't really talk about the murders, and I'm so glad, because part of me, I just don't want to know, because it's so crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy.
It is.
And I'm glad that they'll answer your question. If somebody says something, they'll talk about it, but they don't make it a deal because it shouldn't be.
So basically most of the $8 million that she inherited actually went to her kids. And then she gets a percentage of the various Congdon family trusts. Mm. And there are like 3 of those. So apparently Old Chester was really good at keeping the money as well as making it.
That's good.
Marjorie has not been forthcoming about any role that she may have played in her mother's murder or any of the other crimes that she's been accused of. Apparently,
not even to say, no, I didn't do it.
Right.
Just not saying anything.
No. Mm-hmm. Now, apparently, while she was on trial, she was a real chatty Cathy, and she would talk to the media quite frequently, to which her lawyer was like, shut the hell up.
Right. But
since her acquittal, she has refused to do any interviews, despite numerous attempts by the media to contact her. She did make an attempt to write a tell-all book, but the lawyer working with her embezzled $1 million
No way.
from her. So she was outfoxed by another sociopath, basically. In 2007, Marjorie made friends with a man living in an assisted living facility, offering to help him sort out his finances. But then he died, and Marjorie was found to be writing checks from him to herself. When police went to investigate the man's death, they discovered that his body had been cremated because Marjorie had been appointed the power of attorney, so she got to do whatever she wanted to do with his body.
Why was she given any responsibility? Can you?
He did it.
But she's a convicted felon. Like, how
Right.
is she allowed to do anything?
I mean, it doesn't matter. She managed to. Really,
Yeah.
Mona?
Yeah. You gotta sharpen your claws when you gotta sharpen your claws.
That's right.
Okay.
I need to sharpen my claws daily and actually use them as opposed to keeping them sheathed passively aggressively. So they discovered that his body had been cremated and Marjorie had been appointed the power of attorney, so she was the one who did that. She was charged with forgery and fraud for writing the checks and was placed on intensive probation. I don't even know what that means.
I don't know either.
But apparently it was enough of an inconvenience that she went to plead with the court to get out of it in 2010. She claimed that she wanted to move into an assisted living facility and wouldn't be allowed to if she was on probation. The judge denied her request. So, the 40-year anniversary of the murders of Elizabeth Condon and Velma Piatella was last year. Yeah, in 2017. Ironically, or maybe symbolically, Elizabeth's other daughter, Jennifer, died right before the anniversary of the murders.
Oh my gosh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was a upright and worthy individual holding up the family legacy of being good people. In recent years, she had not spoken to Marjorie very much. Well, the only thing that was known was that she had really never gotten along with Marjorie, even in childhood, and that she was convinced that Marjorie masterminded the murder of their mother. So Marjorie is 85 now, and she is still living in Tucson.
That's crazy.
There are a couple articles out there about her, principally by Joe Kimball.
Yeah. Star Trib writer.
Yeah, Star Tribune journalist who originally reported on the murders and has kind of kept up with it all through the years.
And he was kind of in the right place at the right time, sort of thing. Like, I don't think he intended to be part of this whole story, and he unwittingly, like, I don't know if he's happy or not about that, but
he's published a book on her.
Will
put that on our website as our sources, because a lot of this
is
stuff...
that the one that's the Secrets of Congdon?
I think so.
Something, because there's several. There's one that's like that he did, and then there's one that's much longer and goes into much more detail. But it's all pretty interesting. Some of it's kind of sensational.
He's been really good about being, I think, pretty truthful and not sensationalizing it. I got a lot of information from an article that was published just a couple of years ago by a younger journalist who basically stalked her in Tucson trying to find her to see if she would do an interview, and she finally got to her, and basically Marjorie was like, get off my step or I'm calling the police. So she doesn't really have anything to do with journalists nowadays. So yeah, that is the crazy...
Wait, that's the end?
That's the end.
The end is that Crazy Marjorie
is still alive
out there.
Yeah.
In Arizona.
Right. So yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, she's out there.
Well, I love the house.
It's a great house. I want to go see it now.
Yeah.
That's the end of today's episode. Thanks for hanging in there with us on this, and make sure you join us next week for another episode in infamy. Yes.
Infamy
in architecture.
Salaciousness.
I love that word too. Infamy and salacious and architecture.
Any other really cool vocab words we can come up with?
I love SAT
to associate with our podcast.
That's right. So join us.
Oh, all the things. Look at we'll probably post more pictures of Glensheen.
On Instagram.
And
Facebook.
Right.
And the Twitter.
The social outlets.
And if you have not left us a review,
please review.
Yeah, that's really, really important. If you enjoy us, please let us know.
And if you have any stories about Glensheen or Taliesin while we're at it, have you been there? Do you have...
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, we're like
we like going on tangents, so
right. And
talk to us about
if you've got
architecture and scandal.
Yeah, if you've got a suggestion for us, just hit us up on one of our social media outlets, or you can email us at scandalsheetspod@gmail.com.
What houses should we do?
Yeah,
we already have
a couple
small lists.
Yeah.
So for the rest of the season.
But we're open. If you give us $25, we'll do whatever you want to do. We're cheap.
Okay. Like, what do we need besides money?
Lots of booze.
Yeah. That's hard to send in the mail, though.
That's true. They don't let you do it anymore.
So, just go ahead and Venmo us.
Yeah. Venmo. I have not used Venmo before. Is that like the new thing?
I like the Venmo.
Yeah, I'm a PayPal girl, so...
Oh, yeah.
We do have a PayPal. You can send us money at scandalsheetspod@gmail. That's our PayPal.
Because you listen to all this ad-free. And no podcast do I listen to without advertisements. Although they are fairly entertaining. So, I guess it depends.
Right.
But this is uninterrupted facts.
Right.
And banter. And who doesn't love that?
Exactly. I agree. So, Patreon. We got one of those.
Stitcher. iTunes.
Oh, yeah. Patreon.
Oh, right. I'm sorry.
You're confusing me. It's too late.
No, that's where you give the money, and the other places are where you can find us.
Right. Patreon and PayPal is where you give the money, and then you can find us on Stitcher,
iTunes,
Apple Podcasts, or iTunes, whichever you prefer.
Download.
Player.fm.
Do all the things.
The TuneIn app. Instagram, Facebook. Do all the things, as Adrienne says.
Yeah.
And I think that's it.
That is.
That is.
Yep.
So... Ta-ta for now.
Bye.